Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. LSU and Arkansas, 6 o'clock kick on Saturday, and started kind of diving into the Razorbacks a little bit more deeply last night and into this morning, and just kind of looking at different statistics, different personnel, looking at some of the highlights and kind of looking at some storylines for this game. And one is coming to the forefront for me a little bit. It's not necessarily will LSU replicate its offense from last week. It's not necessarily the injury to Rocket Sanders or KJ Jefferson as the senior quarterback or the Arkansas new coordinators. To me, one of the things that I haven't considered as much over the course of this week is Arkansas's defensive front and the way it has played against the run. Last year, Arkansas was historically atrocious against the pass. I mean, absolutely abysmal, stopping people through the air. They've made some changes back there. They've brought in some transfers, trying to stay healthier. And we'll see what that pass defense is. But their run defense through 3 weeks has been pretty good. Now, we are still at a point in the calendar where it is difficult to look at statistics and have them tell you the absolute truth. When you play Kent State or you play Western Carolina, statistics can get out of whack in a hurry. I get it. So I'm not going to lean too heavily on that. But Arkansas did do a good job against the run with BYU. BYU ran it 31 times for just 77 yards in that game, only 2.5 yards per rush. In that game, Arkansas had 9 tackles for loss and 3 sacks. That is really disruptive up front. It's a very, very veteran group that Arkansas will bring in here on the defensive front. You know Landon Jackson, former 4-star recruit from Texarkana, came to LSU and ended up transferring to Arkansas. He's 6'7", 281 pounds. He was really good last week against BYU. 3 tackles for loss on the year. He's got 2 sacks. He's got real NFL measurables on one edge. The other edge is Trajan Jeffcoat, who's a 6'4", 281-pound fifth-year senior. He started 30 games for Missouri and then transferred to LSU. In 2020, the COVID year, which was weird, he was an all-SEC player for the Missouri Tigers. In week 2 of this year, he was the SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week. So those 2 guys have been pretty good for them on the edges. And then on the interior, they've got Tarian Carter, who's 6'3", 303 pounds, another fifth-year player. He missed last year with a knee injury. He's back and healthy. Eric Gregory's the other tackle, 6'4", 318 pounds. He's another fifth-year senior. And last year had 10 starts. He's played some played some tackle. But basically, you got 3 fifth-year seniors and a junior in Landon Jackson up front here. They've got the most sacks in the SEC with 12. Now, 7 of those were against Kent State. I think that's a reasonable caveat to toss in there. But this is a spot where if you're trying to find some Arkansas advantages or some spots where they could give LSU some trouble, maybe it's this defensive front that's played well through 3 weeks. The question is LSU ready for that up front? We've seen them cycle through some players in garbage time against Grambling. We've seen them try to mix in Lance Hurd when they could. And Charles Turner met with the media yesterday and was kind of asked, how has this gone as y'all have kind of moved some guys around here and there?
Really, it's just instilled in all of us throughout the whole group. You got to prepare for anything, really. So, when we study for teams and we study for things, we're not just studying for our position, he just no center and just no guard. Everybody has to know all 5 positions because if somebody goes down, then we got to step it up as the next man up. So it's just when we have a situation like that and, we have guys like Lance that can step up for us and, guys like Emory can bump in the guard and play guard for us, it just makes our unit a lot better.
I consider LSU's offensive line a potential strength on this team. We'll see over time. They got beat pretty good at the point of attack by Florida State, and they handled their business against Mississippi State. And I think from Mississippi State, you're taking a little step up here with this Arkansas defensive front. LSU has won 13 games in a row in which they've run for 200 yards. That's not totally shocking. You run for 200 yards, you're very likely going to win. And LSU, like I said, has won 13 in a row. I don't see that happening. I don't think LSU is going to run for 200. But can you run for 150? Can you run for 175? Can you control the line of scrimmage? Because if LSU wins that line of scrimmage, that goes back to the talking points we had in August. That means if you're winning up front, one, you're going to be able to run the ball. Two, teams are going to have to come up and help, and then they got to deal with Malik, Brian Thomas, a healthy Mason Taylor. And we saw how that goes last week. Not a lot of SEC DBs that are going to do a lot of damage against Malik Neighbors one-on-one in space. So, big deal for LSU in running the football against this Arkansas front. Now, here's another little wrinkle to these statistics I'm throwing at you, one of which was that BYU really had trouble running the ball against Arkansas. BYU's quarterback is Keaton Slovis. Keaton Slovis is a statue. He doesn't move at all. Jaden Daniels, not a statue. Runs really well. So it's an apples to oranges run game comparison there, and I fully realize that, and I think that adds some intrigue, and I think that gives LSU some numbers advantages. If you're trying to stop the run against BYU, you got to win the point of attack and go get the running back. If you're going to try to win the run against LSU, you're going to have to win your battle up front and then find the ball, whether it's with Logan Diggs or Caleb Jackson or Josh Williams, or if Jaden Daniels has kept it. And it's not just design runs. It's non-design runs as well, where he drops back, and then you just find a way to make things happen on the ground. It's a different offense than what BYU is putting up there against Arkansas. So as we continue to look at this Arkansas team, and most of the data we'll pull is from BYU because I think that's the most relevant comparison. I don't know that LSU compares very much to Kent State, who's probably the worst team in the MAC. As you continue to look at that game against BYU and kind of pick from it what you will, I do think Arkansas's defensive line is stout. I think it's old. I think it's veteran. I think it's pretty good. I think the challenge that they face this weekend is much greater. One, LSU's offensive line is better than BYU's. Two, they got more talent at running back. Three, they've got a quarterback that can make you hurt. It's, once again, as you talk through it and you look through numbers and you look through matchups and you look through personnel, there's a theme in this game, and it's that, generally speaking, LSU's got the upper hand. There's a reason Vegas has picked this as a 17, 18-point number, depending on where you're looking. LSU's got the better players. But if there's a roadmap for Arkansas to make this thing work, it's not their corners locking LSU down. It's winning at the line of scrimmage. It's getting pressure on Jaden Daniels. It's tackling the running backs in the backfield and creating negative plays and getting LSU into second and 12s and third and 11s. That's where Arkansas can maybe pin their ears back, and we know that their new defensive coordinator wants to be aggressive. That's his MO. I think Barry Odom was a little bit more conservative, a little more, we'll keep everything in front. He's gone to UNLV. Arkansas is going to be more aggressive this year. And it's easier to be aggressive in third and 11s. So for LSU, as I look at this right now, I'm going, okay, neutralize that. Use your big, strong offensive line that should be a strength on your team. Win the point of attack if you do that and you run the ball and you give Jaden Daniels some time and you let your guys who have advantages on the outside go play. Arkansas is going to have a really hard time stopping you. They had a hard time stopping BYU last week, and that's more so in terms of points and not yards because they didn't even crack 275 yards in the game. But they did score 38 points. But again, it's worth mentioning. It's worth noting that Arkansas does have a good front that LSU is going to have to deal with. Once you get past that, you're in good shape. And like I said, LSU has won 13 in a row and they run for 200. If they can just run for 150, 175 in this game, you're talking about a real good opportunity to shift those winning odds in your favor. But we'll see. Landon Jackson and company probably going to play pretty hard in this game. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.